My name is Han Yu Zhang. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Mhm.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm currently a sophomore student at Fordham University. I'm majoring in global business and concentration in finance. I always like to start something new. So I have like this entrepreneurship experience. So I co-founded with a bunch of my friends in China an organization, a nonprofit of organization in China that empowers women through volunteering and learning activities. That's called AGN, Altruism, Grace, and Nimbus. So I organized an event and collaborations with the United Donation Fund of Morning Center children with cerebral palsy, which increased number of volunteers to the center. Also, I've raised funds of like 15,000 yuan. That's around like 25,000. Oh, I'm sorry. 150,000 yuan. That's around like $25,000 for the purpose of the children's future therapy. And I also feature our organization as a raising nonprofit organization in more than 30 media channels, including CCTV and Sohu TV, which are the two largest TV stations in China. And according to my past intern experience in China Development Bank, I did an summer internship there, which is one of the largest financial institutions that raise funds for large infrastructure projects in China. I helped prepare and translated the China Africa Investment Program Guide into English, which helped foreign investors understand the Chinese development program. And I also collected the financial data and generated graphical displays, which were used in creating the business plan for fiscal year 2016. Of course, I enhanced my skills in conducting analysis and performing report strategy and marketing plannings by shadowing senior managers. And in addition to that, I have 15 years of professional piano experience. So I volunteer music teacher in a Dongfang Huayuan Children Welfare Center in Beijing since 2011 until right now. So I taught those disability children playing piano, and fortunately, 25% of the children have won the prize at Red May instrument competition.
Okay, good. So it seems like you are very experienced. So, what experience has provided that's best fit for the role?
Uh, Personally, I feel like that's my entrepreneurship experience. First of all, I have the passion for this role. I always want to do something that's related to the financial services side, and your company has provided like the perfect opportunity for me to learn those financial consulting services, or like how can I do things. And so I believe that I have the passion for this, and I believe if I fortunately can get this position, I will like do well in this. Secondly, I think because I have a really solid entrepreneurship experience, because the organization I mentioned before, AGN, I co-founded with a bunch of my friends. We have met a huge, not a huge, but like a series of challenges during the process while forming the organization, and like the developing of the organization. But we have all come through that, and I personally believe that I am capable of like doing this kind of like start things, innovative things, and start new things. So I think I'm like the best match for this position.
Okay, great. So, what do you know about us?
I realized that the Wall Street Innovation Center serves as a business and incubator, which is to help those entrepreneurs or startup companies to develop their business and launch their dreams. So Wall Street Innovation Center, they provide financial consulting services, or and also they offer and provide those office space. Um, so they will like do also they will do like law consulting stuff and business consulting stuff. And I also noticed that Wall Street Innovation Center is an arm of Harvard Management Associates, which is like a ongoing strategic projects under this company. So I think it's really interesting that the company that's also like a financial services company, which like interests me the most.
Okay, good. So why do you interested in global business and finance?
So personally, I am hugely inspired by my father actually, who has been like very inspired since I was a young kid. So since I was very young, I always observe him doing business, and he would always like to like talk to me about like what kind of things he has encountered on that specific day and what challenges he has made and how he was able to solve the problem. So I um, watch him like go through every single step, which like have already built the foundation of my interest right now. So I'm very curious about like what's gonna be like if me myself doing this process. Well, through learning and experience, and I will also have a company in the future, just like what my father did. So I am like very attracted, and also because my father's inspirations, I have this passion and drive to do some business related to the financial side, because that's what I am like influenced since young.
Okay, great. So what ability would you bring to the company?
That's a good question. What ability would I bring? So I think because of my past intern experience at China Development Bank, I believe I have a really solid IT skills, like my Excel and those like all of the everything including the Microsoft things like Excel, Access, PowerPoint, Words, or anything related to that. And also according to the course I learned, which is like financial management and strategy, I know how to like do financial analysis and how to generate like the financial data. And when I was doing the internship in China Development Bank during the summer, I helped the managers like generate the data and form them into like different geographical displays. So I think I'm capable to do these things also like in your company, and I think this will like contribute a lot, no matter to like the business plan or like your own financial analysis. So I think I'm capable of doing those things.
Okay, great. So why should we hire you?
I feel like not only the passion, the passion side I mentioned about, like, uh, yeah. Firstly, because I think the biggest reason is about my passion. I like this job. I like everything that's related to the financial services side. So I believe I have the ability to do that. And also, given my past experience and entrepreneurship experience, I have the skills that's required for this position. So I really believe that I can make a strong contribution to this to your company. Not only is it's just I learned something from your company, and I believe that I can contribute a lot to your company from my past experience. So I think this is like the second reason why would you guys hire me, because not only the passion but also I have skills and ability and experience, past experience to do those similar things.
Okay. So what do you think you can make a successful intern?
Uh, First, to be a successful intern, I feel like the intern must love this job. So for example, I am applying to this job in your company, so I think it's because something I love, I will do this job. So the passion is the most important point. And also, um, it's the professional side of the intern. So I believe the intern needs to have the proficiency in both the Microsoft Office tools and the ability to analyze those financial data, or the ability to have to communicate and get along well with other people or his co-workers, like how to be well-rounded and how to deal with those like problems, or like how to solve the problems in the office, or like while he or she is working. So I think that's like the most important point about being a successful intern.
Yeah. Very good. So, what is the project that you are most proud of that you lead?
One project, I think, well, of course, I'm most like proud of the organization I co-founded, the agent that I mentioned before, because it's something that's really unique in China, and that's something that no one has done it before. So which means that it's really challenging, but it's very attractive. First, it's challenging because it's something that I have never done before. It's something that's also new to me, and I didn't have enough experience to do that. But because of this, I am able to work through every step by steps, to solve every problems one by one. So I really enjoy the process of solving the problems and the process of learning and improving myself during the formation of these organizations. And also, the organization is doing pretty well right now, since it, just like I have introduced before, it attracted like the attention of more than 30 media organizations in China, which like it's something that even our parents can't believe, because they didn't like really believe that's something that a bunch of little girls can do. So which is like it's doing pretty well, and so I am so proud of that.
Yeah. So, what is your greatest strength and weakness?
My greatest strengths, I believe that I am a really persistent and consistent person. So once I have started something, I have to keep myself like keep going on. So never like stop. So I won't let myself give up, and I want everything to be perfect. And if I have started something, I want it to be perfect. I want like to make sure it's 100% done, and I have put all my efforts into it, so I won't regret sometimes in the future. And but because this persistence and consistency for myself, I'm a little bit too pushy on friends around me. So for example, if we are having like a group project, I sometimes that will force my friends or my teammates to work in my way, or like work hard as they can, and put all their efforts just as what I did. So I think this is something that's too pushy for them, but I'm improving myself. Since I'm thinking about the steps to how like to correct or how to change this weakness. Just like for example, like I will like pay more attention to other people's opinion and listen others first, and don't be like so pushy, and I will like give them freedom and time to do the things in their own ways.
Okay, so since you talk about your weakness, so can you tell me a time you are in a team and there was a conflict, and how should it solve?
Uh, so when this reminds me the projects I was doing for last year's IP course, which is like the integrated project course. That so we were divided into different groups, and each group has around 4 to 5 teammates. And my team is doing the campus soup company. So each team needs to find out a challenge about the company and then give a solution for it. And we will like give a final presentation during the final, and the best one will be the first prize for the consulting cup. And during the process, at first, before we have done the marketing development, and there is a little conflicts in our group. There are two of the other guys that has an idea that we should develop more in US, like we should do more household sales in the US markets. However, me and another girl thinks that we should expand our market into China, which is like the biggest soup market, since we have already like enough market share within US. So this is like the perfect time for us to expand our business, since we are having like this agreement. So I personally like came to our professor, our marketing professor, and asked him like which opinion he thinks is the best for our team and which one is more appropriate. And so the professor gave me a bunch of reflects and his own ideas, and apparently he agreed with me, so my opinion, which is like to expand the Chinese market. So after I heard from the professor, I went back to my teammates and I told them about what the professor said, and I told him like the reason the professor has pointed out and why should we do that, and why their idea isn't that great. And so as a result, everything turns out to be like really great, because the other guys has agree on my opinion, and we have finally worked out this challenge and somehow I turned this challenge into a agreement finally.
Great. So how you are a self-starter?
A self-starter? Okay, so I believe I am a really provocative person, and so I think I always like to take the lead on first. So for example, the campus project that I mentioned before. So before every meeting, I would always be the first one to remind other people when is the due date of our deliverables and when should we meet. So for example, if tomorrow is the due date for a marketing deliverable, I will remind everyone to separate the work for each individual ahead of time, like a week before. So I will tell them like which part should they do, and then we will have schedule a meeting time. So for example, this Monday, since the deliverable is due Wednesday, so we will like have a meeting together and put all our work together. And before the meeting time, I will remind everyone to that there's a meeting today and we should like go which room and when we'll go there. So I believe I am kind of like a provocative person, so that's kind of like a self-starter, since I always like to take the lead on. So that's why I think I'm a self-starter.
Do you have a startup company that you admire?
Yes, I do. Actually, the most startup company I admire is my brother's company. He has created a investment company in Beijing, and he started with only 3 people, but right now the company size is like around like 300 people right now, and within a really like short time, like around like 6 years. So first I admire like his ability to expand the business like in a relative like short times. Second, I really admire that his ability and proficiency in the finance area and his ability to networking, those skills, So I wish, I wish in the future I can be someone like him, and I can do something like what he has done before. And I hope I also have the proficiency in the financial area that's or related to the investment banking area. Yeah.
Okay, great. So how do you survive in fast-paced environment?
This is a really good question. So I came from China to New York. Yeah, actually, I came from Beijing to New York, which are like the biggest modern city right now. So the city itself is already like really fast paced, and I have to adapt this. But fortunately, I have a really like good adaptability, so I can like adapt new environment in a relatively short time. So at the time I came from Beijing to New York, I have already like fit in this environment, and I know the speed of how people live right here. It's pretty similar like to the Beijing people. So I think I have the ability to survive in a fast-paced environment since I grew up under like this really like big pressure and really fast-growing city.
Okay, so tell me about a time when you wanted to do things one way and the majority wanted to do things differently.
Wow, this is a really good question. So I remember it was yes, it's it happened during the this winter vacation that I went back to China. So the organization AGN I mentioned before. So I was since it's a non-profit organization. So but even though it's a non-profit organization, it has to be like has to be something that can generate the profits that for the organization. So we have the money to run the regular activities and events. So I'm thinking about running a fashion brand and running something that's related to fashion since we all like all of the like we all love girls love fashion, like girls love clothes. That's something that I want to do like when I'm free. So I wish I can create or doing like a online fashion brand that can generate profits for AJN. However, there is one co-founder. There is another co-founder that disagree with my opinion, and she totally like disagree with this whole idea, and she think that it's like a really inappropriate time to do that, and she isn't like really interested in that. So this whole winter vacation, me and like a bunch of my friends, other co-founders, we run around like the Beijing city and ask those consulting experts, those marketing experts about like whether or not it's time to do a fashion brand right now, and also how like what's the best to develop and what's the best to like do marketing for our organizations. And I I myself asked a lot of like experts and a lot of professionals about their opinion, and I realized that this is like a really bad time to start something that's like related to fashion in China. So I realized my like it's wrong to have this idea, and I gradually changed my mind, and finally we turned out like we all agree on other ideas, which is to hold constant like bake sales to generate the profit since it's easier and it's like really convenient and time saving and money saving to do a big to hold big sales rather than like creating a whole big fashion brand that can we since we can like generate money more quickly and quicker and in a relatively short time. That's enough for like running our organization.
Yeah, Okay, so tell me about a time when you had to create a strong working relationship with someone who was reluctant to work with you.
Mm, yes. So I believe this should trace to my experience when I was doing the internship in China's Development Bank, and so it's like the largest financial institution in China. So like all of the workers there are, we call like old people, that age
Mm.
around 50 and 60, just like my parents. And I was the youngest intern, like, or the youngest person in the whole company. So like the so I was like, I'm only 19, and so I'm too young. Since I'm too young, there are like a bunch of old people thinks I am not professional enough, or I am not like detail oriented enough to work with them. So sometimes they are reluctant to like give me the work, or they are reluctant to work with me, and which is really like frustrated because I want to um, know those like the most important jobs, and I want to know like like what how they work regularly. So what I did was, I every single morning I went there like 15 minutes before everyone arrived, and I will look through the files that we have already done yesterday. So for example, there was a time we were preparing for the business plan for fiscal year 2016. So I will like collected the data and analyze each one ahead time before everyone started doing that, and then I will give my work to those old people to like let them to check and see what advices he will give me. And he if he disagree with me, he will like make suggestions and he can do the work himself. But if he agree with me and prove my work as trustworthy, he would just like use my work as a part of like the evidence and the process, like doing when creating the business plan. Unfortunately, my work has been proven, and they believe that I have the ability compared to other like same age teenagers. I have the ability to like do those financial analysis and like collect those data and do the Excel sheets. So they prove my ability, and later they would like to yeah, fortunately they would like to give me some important work, not just like easy works like printing jobs or collecting files. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so can you tell me about a time when you let a colleague down by not being dependable?
Yes, absolutely. So it was also happened during my first internship in China Development Bank. Since it was my first internship, so I wish I could put all my efforts, and I wish I could do everything I could. So um, there was one time that I agreed to help one of my colleagues to do his work since he couldn't finish at that time, and but I also have my own work, so which is like a conflict, a contradictory things. So, but I thought I was able to finish both of our works, but I didn't. Yes, the result is it turns out that I only finished my part, but like I didn't even start his part, and so this really turned my colleague down, and he was a little bit disappointing. Since I have promised him to help him to finish the work, uh, but so he might consider me as like a little bit not that dependable. But so we we will like we can go home at 5:30, but I told him that I would stay, and even though I couldn't get the pay, but I will still like stay with him to do the job, to do the work together, and we could finish the job at the day, no matter like how late it is. We would finish the job that day, and we will like hand it in on time. And then later, like after the day after that day, which is like tomorrow, we actually finish the job, and it turns out like a really good result. So
Right.
yes, this is like a really fortunate, like good result for me.
Yeah. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So if we're I actually have a really well prepared plan. So if fortunately I can get this into position right now, hopefully in 5 years in the future, I will get promoted in your company, and I can like get a manager position that is like the core manager in the company that has like a really uh, huge like important job to do, that I'm like the job that I'm most interested in. Mhm.
Okay, I think that's pretty much it for the interview. So do you have any questions for me?
Uh, yes, I do actually. Um, I have actually three questions based on the interview. So the first one would be I want to know like what would be a typical day for look for a intern. As you know, like I have a internship experience, but I would also know like what kind of things an interview do in your company. Would it be like a lot of meetings, or would it be like a lot of paperworks? Yeah. And secondly, I would like to know what would be one of the first challenges that I could solve for you. So I would know like what I can contribute the first if I can fortunately get this position. And the last question would be, what do you enjoy most about working here? Since this is the company that I really wish I can get in, so I want to know like the working environment here, and the like if whether or not it's enjoyable. Uh, that's pretty much it.